All right, welcome to the channel. Today we are profiling my True Draco Eldlich deck build. I've been playing this for a couple weeks now. It's pretty fun, pretty easy to play, but it's surprisingly consistent and there's some good synergy in the deck, so we'll just jump into it. First up, 2 Golden Lord. You don't need 3, 2's perfect. It's pretty traditional with the Eldlich lineup, so just stick to it. For True Dracos, we play 3 Ignis Heat, 3 Majesty Maiden, and of course 1 Dynamite Knight. This lineup works pretty well. If Dynamite comes back to 2, this might change a little bit, but for now you kind of need to see your pieces, so maxing them out works. I don't play any of the other ones. I know there's some kind of like one-off ones that they're good in niche situations, but your win condition here is going to be mostly your Eldlich core, and then using this stuff to kind of create consistency and advantage and then pop your opponent's board with the spells and traps. So this works. I'd stick with that lineup. I play Extrav. I don't have Prosperity. You could play it. I think it's absurdly expensive right now, so if you do have it, I'd recommend selling it over playing it. Extrav is perfect in this deck. Your extra deck rarely comes up. We'll get to that. There's only a few cards that matter. You play those at multiples. And they're not expensive cards, so it's pretty easy to do. And the +1 that you get with this compared to Prosperity or you know, some of those like Duality or something like that, the +1 actually matters because you want card advantage. This deck doesn't necessarily do anything that's super unfair, but one thing it does is it's consistent. It continually gets you advantage, and this just builds off that. So I think this is the perfect play.
And having played against it, that card advantage is kind of scary because you always have something to play into.
Yeah, you just keep building on it. So kind of continue with that. 3 Eldland. This is really interesting in this deck because you can sack it off to summon your True Dracos, and so that gets it to the grave, and so you can use both effects in one turn, which is awesome, and it just adds some consistency. So there's actually a lot of combos where like this and a True Draco monster is essentially both engines fully online, and that's really, really cool. So definitely play 3 of that. I don't know why that's there, but 1 random called by, it's just a power card, so play it. So for the True Draco spells, 3 Heritage and 3 Disciples. You want to max these out. I've kind of thought about cutting these and adding in some different cards, but you want to see these, especially. What makes this deck unique is going first, you can consistently put up a couple interruptions, but when you're going second, it just naturally wants to do that because, you know, these pop spells and traps when they leave the field, your traps pop monsters, and then Eldlich can send cards. So it just naturally goes second really well. And maxing these out is great because you see them. Their effects, you know, I remember back in the day where every turn you're cycling cards, you're drawing off this every turn. It's really nice when it comes up, but it's obviously this deck has lost consistency with Diagram at 1, so you're not getting those effects off as much, but it's still, you want to see these cards, so max them out. Just talked about it. Diagram, play 1. We'll leave that there. I also play Mystic Mind, Terraforming, and Set Rotation. So this is something I've been testing, and I really like it. The set rotation is amazing here because if you see this, you can set Mystic Mind to your opponent's field and then pop it with your True Draco spells. And so that's just kind of some nice synergy to get this off the field. Otherwise, going second, sometimes you need this. And again, True Draco plays so well under this because a lot of your disruption, especially going second, is coming from tributing off your spells and traps. So this has been working really well. Yeah, so I'd keep that. For the Eldlich spells, or sorry, traps, 3 Sanguine, 3 Conch, and 2 Aquero. This is kind of standard. This doesn't come up right now, at least in this format. Other formats, this is better, so 2's fine, but you do want to see these. And so this is the lineup that's worked well for me. And then onto the True Draco traps. True King's Return. Fortunately, it's returned to 3, so play it at 3. It's really good. The one thing to keep in mind is the special summon effect does lock you out of special summoning again for the rest of the turn. And so that has come up. And just so be aware of that. A lot of times that's really the only thing that conflicts with the Eldlich side of the deck, right? Because a lot of times you want to be special summoning, and if you wait to do this onto your turn, it'll lock you out. So just keep that in mind, but really good. And then of course, Apocalypse. So these allow you to go second and pop monsters and kind of tear apart boards. And then obviously going first, it lets you summon during your opponent's turn and create more card advantage. So yeah, that's a 40 card main deck, and I would keep it at 40 cards. I like playing 40. You want the consistency. We'll get into the extra deck. It doesn't super matter, but there are a few things I'll point out. So this card is incredible and no one knows what it does. It's 3 level 5 or higher monsters. And then if it's summoned, actually I should go back. So it's 3 level 5 or higher monsters, and it's unaffected by other monster effects. So it's a 3500 beat stick that just sits there and is unaffected by other monsters. That's incredible on its own. The cool thing is that if it's summoned using 3 monsters that are all different attributes, you can board wipe your opponent once per turn. And that's monsters and spells and traps. And so all of your true Draco monsters, they're all different attributes and they're all different from Eldlich. So I would definitely, I mean, you know, this comes up, I get it on the field, and a lot of times it just ends games individually. So I like this at 2 so that you always have one. The next stuff I'll go through are all Cherries targets. Hauk, Abyss King, Goliath, kind of random, but they can't play without it. Anaconda, Prank Kids, Meow Meow Mew. This is really important. Blackbeard comes up. I know a lot of people have been playing Plunder Patrol, and so if you can just get rid of this, it's kind of hilarious. Phoenix Enforcer, Darklaw. So this is in here, and I'll just go to this now. Darklaw and Shen are in here because what I realized the hard way is you cannot play this deck under either of these because it banishes everything from the field. And so your spells and traps cannot activate, and you literally have no way to out these if you can't get those to, you know, start getting that advantage. And so these cold stop both engines in your deck. That's why I play these. If you're playing against Heroes or Virtual World, it's easy to just put Cherries in and try to get rid of these. So 1 Dragoon. This deck has a bit of a problem with Dragoon. Just everyone has a bit of a problem with Dragoon, so it's nice to have it in here. And Shishao, because I had the room and, you know, it's pretty popular, so this is a nice card to hit with Cherries. And then the only 2 other cards in the deck are Constellar Pleiades. This does come up because your Eldlich traps are level 5 and a lot of the True Draco monsters are level 5. And so you can go into these. It's really good. You can detach the traps to get those into the grave. It's nice. This comes up, you know, every now and then, which is why I play 2. The last thing is the side deck, which is of course personal preference. So play whatever's good at your locals. This works really well. I've gone over that. So, you know, if you want to run this, pick your targets according to your locals or your meta. And but yeah, I've really liked this. It's a nice pick, this format. This card is busted. I remember back in the day, like Zoo, True Draco format, people wanted this to get banned. What this says is literally just monsters cannot activate their effects except for spirit monsters. That's it. So going second, you side this in, it's basically Dark Ruler. You just normal summon it. If they don't have a way to negate the normal, this is a condition. It's not an activating effect. So it just sits there. Your opponent cannot do anything. And then you basically just board wipe them. You do all your True Draco stuff, all your Eldlich stuff, and you break their board. This card is insane. It is so good. Play this. To go with it, Dark Ruler no more. So going second, if you're playing against combo or something like that, between this and a mono Awado, you're really in a good position going second, especially like I mentioned, all your spells and traps for True Draco do stuff when they're sent to the graveyard from the field. So it makes it really easy to clear boards. And then for back row decks, I play 3 Cyclone. This is really good right now. And Evenly Matched, which is always good. So yeah, that rounds out the side deck. Again, do whatever feels right for you and the people you play against, but this has worked really well for me. So that wraps it up. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the down in the comments section, and hopefully we can get to those. We're trying to, you know, always improve and get better. So we are thankful for your support and your help, and have a great day.